HEDERA, what's up? Thank you for passing by. My name is Phil and I am from Mints and Drops. And today I'm having the pleasure to receive on the show no other than Sonia from ORBIS86. She's bringing the full sauce, full package over to the HEDERA ecosystem. She is tech savvy. She will not say it, but she is an absolute Go aficionado. She is a founder of an elite project coming in with some heat over Sentient and Zeus. Enjoy. Sonia, thank you so much to pass by. Finally, we're hopping on the show together. We've been going at it for weeks. I can say it. I'm so happy and delighted to have you on the show. Let's just carry on the conversation we were having before going on press record. ORBIS86.
Hey, Phil.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me to the show. I was looking forward to it, and finally we get to chat with each other. So, yeah, and I get to see you, and that's a W. And then you're wearing this cool T-shirt, this cool hoodie by Batty Hattie, and then right behind you, you have this little cool HEDERA recording studio setup, and I mean that's dope as
it's a big flex. I know, but I have no choice. That's how we do. You know how we do. We like to flex.
I know, right? Yeah, I mean that's why I was saying on the space the other day that hey, HEDERA, small community, but you know what? Big things come in small packages, and I have been consistently seeing that pattern. So
very true. Yeah, and we're really glad to have you on board too. You know, you've been a blessing since the very beginning. Well, how much time you've been around, like going ham? Because you've been around for a long time now, but how much time have you?
Within HEDERA or within, like, we started working on our NFT project in November 2021.
Yeah.
So it's been a while that we've been working on the project alone. But then HEDERA, I'm going to say, Dylan and Sarah, I kept running into them in conferences where I was either exhibiting or speaking. And then it was like, I guess, Web3 Vegas, where I really sat down with them and had a very nice conversation. And I believe Web3 Vegas was like August or September last year. And then after that, November, I believe, is when, NFT London was at November. So it's probably around August, September time. I remember
seeing it pass by. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so it's been over 6 months now, right? Like, oh, well, 6 months now, because August, September, that's when Dylan really convinced me, like, hey, you know, HEDERA, great community of builders, you should come in, you should check it out. And then the first person he introduced me to was Jacob from Hashback Wallet, right?
Yeah.
And
shout out to Hashback Wallet.
Oh yeah, Hashback Wallet. I mean, your team's amazing.
Yeah.
They have been supporting me too, right? And obviously everyone we are onboarding, they have been going through the Hashback Wallet experience. And I know there are many wallets out there, but a lot of folks we are onboarding are coming from Ethereum, and MetaMask, the UX it's not very intuitive.
It's different. Let's just put it this way. It's really different. That's what it is.
Well, I'm not even going to mince words, but honestly, like every single person we've onboarded, and we've done this for at least 50-60% people legit now, right, who did not have an HBAR wallet previously. And these are also some of the biggest influencers out there, right? Like people with 500,000 followers on LinkedIn or on Twitter and stuff. Yeah. And even these guys came back and said, that was like one of the smoothest onboarding experiences we have had.
Sure. For sure. Ease of use is undefeated. And it's not because it's my house also, you know, but man, I mean, they just rock. Ease of use is like you. And now with the email adoption, now you can create a wallet with your email.
Yeah, I mean, and it's still a non-custodial wallet, right? That's the important piece.
Damn. Oh yeah, shout out to Hashback and shout out to you for coming up to a great ecosystem. And like you're saying, right, you're Web3 maxi, but at the same time, at one point, you know, I totally respect that. Me, I chose to have a house, right? Because it allows me to bridge even tighter and even in a much more easier way, where I know to get back and okay, this is my house, this is my home. But at the same time, you know, I'm fully aware of what's happening to the XRPL, a tad also to ETH, a tad also to Sol. You know, you have to stay aware. So you have to know, and especially right now for the BTC NFT, which seems to be a thing now. So you got to be aware of stuff that's happening. So it's transfers your thing and your core. Yeah.
Well, a lot of the BTC maxis, they are hating on it, but then, you know, there's this whole, I mean, you know, and well, Twitter crypto and Twitter NFTs have always been such a divided group. And that's why I
Yeah.
use the term Web3, right? Because Web3 is so much more than just crypto or just NFTs. It encompasses this entire new approach of building things in a decentralized fashion, where you do not end up building conglomerates where at the end of the day it's just a couple of people becoming mega billionaires, right? Rather, you are building with everyone and everyone's contributing to that ecosystem, and that results in community prosperity. So yes, you still build these massive communication system and massive infrastructure. However, it's not built for the benefit of one person, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody is supporting it, and you know, they benefit from it. So yes, I mean, you know, Bitcoin NFTs, that's been fun to watch because people are like so divided over it.
It's been a crazy ride for the last 10 days for sure. You know, I think it was a Bitcoin punks, there was a 3D apes that were a scam.
Today, Bored Ape actually, Bored Ape holder transferred his Bored Ape and paid like $168,000, I think, to, you know, put it on Bitcoin. And I was like,
oh yeah.
Well, it was noticeable enough for him to, like, you know, make mainstream news. I mean, if you're spending that kind of coverage and you have everyone from Cointelegraph to everyone covering you, that's actually, yeah, from a PR standpoint, that's not a huge price to pay.
Yeah, for sure. Far from what we're having right now with Orbis, and now you're launching. This video should come out like this week, but you will have launched for sure because you're launching on what, this Friday?
Thursday is our allow list, and then, you know, we're giving people some time to mint the allow list, and if it gets out, it gets out. That's fine. Then on 18th we have public, so we have some supply reserved for public. So we have about 15 Ethereum influencers who are going to come and mint on, and I've given them, you know, the allow list. We haven't given them the mint pass, but we put their name on the allow list just to reduce the friction. Because, you know, one of the friction points, unfortunately, is, hey, here, associate a token. And I love the token association thing because that means you can't get shit NFTs and shit coins just airdrop to you.
So nice.
I like it. But
that's smart.
But you know, for new people, again, that's like one additional step. So I spoke to Sam from HEDERA Sentient, and you know, Sam is amazing, right? So they build things. Yep, HEDERA Sentient, Patricia, Sam, love those guys. So they were like, oh yeah, you know, we could move it around a bit and we could take care of it. So if you just want to give us wallet IDs that need to go on the allow list, we can totally do that. So I said, okay, all right. So these guys on 16th, when they mint, what they are going to do is, as soon as they mint, they're going to go and actually make a post about it, right? Like, hey, this is our first HBAR NFT that we have minted. And we already had a few of them commenting on our pinned tweet right now. And through that, we had folks coming into our Discord and asking for allow us to get onto the HEDERA mint, right? So what we want to do is, when these guys post out this message, we are hoping that that will motivate some of the Ethereum folks to come and check this out on HBAR and mint. And that is why we want to have some collection reserved on like Zeus Market, for example, right? And that's the other thing. Like, people here work together. Most of the launch pads on other ecosystems, they would have said that, well, you know, you're launching with just us, and, you know, it has to be just us, right, that you launch with. But the first person I spoke to was Alex, right? And on Zeus, you have to mint your collection. And at that time, I didn't know how simple the minting part was. I was like, you know, let me talk to somebody who has already done that. So I asked Alex from Zeus, right, that, hey, Alex, if I use somebody else's help and, you know, I use them as a launchpad, can I like split the collection on two? And he was like, yeah, absolutely, we could do that. So this is the first time I think that someone's actually launching on two marketplaces.
I think so.
Yeah, a lot of first offs. Like even the pre-reveal thing, right? Like, hey, let's do the pre-reveal stuff. We worked with Sam on that to figure out how we could get it done. Thankfully, we have the HIP 412 that standardize this whole metadata structure, which we are able to use just to, like, you know, do a pre-reveal fun thing. I know a couple of projects have done that. So some people have been excited about it. Some people are like, oh, what is this new thing, right? I mean, obviously with something new coming in, but on Ethereum and Solana, that has definitely, you know, created a lot of waves of excitement. So we are quite happy to try that out too.
Again, I can only appreciate and respect. It's kind of a leap of faith, of course, but and you did the work in terms of you've talked to everyone. You've talked to everyone in the space. In my opinion, that's the best way to do it, right? Because especially coming, and I don't want to say coming out, but coming into a new community, that's the thing you want to do, right? Instead of just coming in and like going
Give
ham
me
with
your
the big
money.
machine. Yeah, well, and that's fine too. For some people it works, and that is fine too. But I believe being still very young, and I will not say the word early because we've hammered it down so many times. Since the ecosystem is so young and the whole sphere, you know, we're not really accustomed to these kind of approach, which is a good thing because we need new stuff in there to grow the pie. So, and especially bring more people in, right? So big respect for taking this leap of faith. And again, it's a very much calculated risk still. But again, I can only respect that. Yeah, for sure. I can only respect that.
We are still minting on Ethereum too, right? So there is that. But there are a couple of things that these marketplaces are doing for us. So for example, Ash, like Alex and Sam, both of them are adding manual metadata refresh capabilities to Zeus and Hedera Sentient. So if people want to, like, after the reveal is done, in the Hashback wallet, they'll be able to see that almost immediately if they close their wallet and relaunch it. But on Zeus and because Zeus as well as Hedera Sentient, they cache the data, right? It could take a while. So they actually are adding capabilities to manually refresh the metadata so people can see their artwork, like on Zeus and on Hedera Sentient. Then besides that, we all know Alex is like a one-man team, right? So the one thing, we have a large collection, but we're only dropping 1,111, out of which 111, we have them reserved for our team members and DAO members, right? So technically, we are just minting 1,000. So I reached out to Alex, to Ash, and I told him that, hey, Ash, on Zeus right now, when you show the supply, it actually shows the max supply. It doesn't necessarily show the number of tokens minted. So I told him that, can you add a field that shows that? And he was like, oh, you know, I'll go and check how to do that. But yes, you know, it makes sense. Because now if people come in, they see, oh, 8686 NFTs. So is this collection, like, you know, does it have 8686 NFTs? And the fact is that, no, you know, we're just going to have 1,111 because those are the number of NFTs that are minted. So yeah, you know, like everyone's really open to feedback. And if it makes sense, they try to implement it fairly quickly. That just shows, that actually does show how early we are, right? Because if this was something that OpenSea had to implement, it would go through so many loops and hoops before it even got implemented. And here, the small setup also means that things really move more quickly. So yeah, pros and cons of both of the things.
Yeah, 1,000%, you know, and we can go on and on, you know, but down the road again, that's my modus operandi, where would it really matter in a point where when everybody on boards, everybody knows what the game is, but they do not know that they're using XYZ ecosystem, will it really matter? That's the point. So down the road for me, that's why, you know, it's important to build, important to choose a house, whatever, build bridges and everything, but small details that prevents us from really going forward and bringing all of this for my aunt who knows nothing about it to the guy who's crossing the street or everything. That's key, in my opinion.
Yep. And that's the thing, like, you know, you're talking about the guy who's crossing the street. He may or may not even really care about what infrastructure his application, like the application is using to make payments, is built on, right? As long as it has a seamless user experience. And this was a conversation I think I was having with DJ, for example, right? DJ was like, hey, decentralization, right? And we were talking about our metadata because in order to support dynamic NFTs, until the whole supply key thing that Patches is suggesting gets implemented, the way to achieve that would be to host metadata on a centralized server, so we have the capability to update it, right? And then DJ was like, oh, but isn't that centralized? So we were having like a nice friendly banter on it that, hey, What does this mean, right? And yeah, I mean, I was telling him that right now we're not in a place where everything's decentralized, right? So even today, people would actually like, Phil, where would you save the majority of a life savings? So let's say, you have $100,000 in cash, right? This is not a extra cash that you have at hand to spend, but that's like all your life savings. Will you, I mean, just from a commoner's perspective, right? Will you take all of that $100,000 and put it on Ledger, on like, Bitcoin or Ethereum? Not even talking about USDC. Would you do that?
That's the $100,000 question, and that brings to a whole lot of set of research, and the answer will vary from someone to individual from another one, because I believe there's many more. There's much more than just an option to there, much more than an answer. And you have to do research. You have to find your because one person will go, oh no Ledger. The other guy would go like, oh yeah, I want an online one, like I don't know, Exodus or whatever. But down the road,
no,
it's not
it's not Ledger as a device, right? I mean Ledger, the blockchain, or a DLT ledger, right? Okay. That's what I'm talking about. So would you do that? I mean, this is money that you have saved up, right? And this is your life savings. Would you take a life savings and just put it in Bitcoin or Ethereum? So I mean, basically put it on these ledgers and not like USDC, which is a stable coin. Would you do that? A lot of people are going to say no, especially if that is like money that they can't risk to lose, right? Now, then you have the risk takers who are like, oh, sure, why not? If it goes up, it goes up. I am 20, I have $100,000, I lose it. If I make impressive returns from it, I'm set for life. If I lose it, I can earn $100,000 back, right? But what I was getting at is a lot of people would actually go and still put that money in a bank, right? Because they are used to banks being a trustworthy entity.
Because it's safe. The level of trust is known.
It's known, and it's FDIC insured in the US, right? But then you have so many countries where they don't even have good banking systems, right? And blockchain or any decentralized ledger technology could actually just provide banks in the palms of the guy crossing the street. But it has to be a seamless user experience, right? So he doesn't realize, and eventually when he realizes, he'll get to know, okay, wait a minute, I'm not giving my money to anyone else for safekeeping, right? Because if this person screws me over, like what happened with Lehman Brothers. I have friends in the banking sector, and then this one guy who has been a bank manager, he was talking to me about his time when Lehman Brothers crash happened. He's like, we had this lady, and people look at Lehman Brothers, they're like, oh, people had invested their money in Lehman Brothers. What people do not understand is a lot of the times when you have these bigger banks, you actually have smaller banks also keeping their money in the bigger banks, right? Selling those mortgages and selling, that's how all of these intrabank trades and stuff happen. So he was talking about how this lady and her daughter came in, and the daughter was, I think, 65 or 70, right? And this woman was 85 years old. And all of her money, like her money was in the bank, and the bank crashed. She was like, they sat here for half a day because even her daughter was like 65, right? They're like, how do we even start over?
You can't.
It was like all of her money.
You can't.
At that time, how do you, right? And it was awful. And the repercussions. So first of all, Lehman Brothers was like the biggest crash that the world has ever seen. $600 billion of bankruptcy filing. I mean, we look at FTX right now, it's like, oh, it's $32 billion. That was $600 billion. Adjusted for inflation, it is like $750
came
billion.
in a different angle because people were getting accustomed to crypto, at least a bigger portion of the pie, like say me and you, and it was getting lots of traction in terms of the public eye, say with all the publicity they did, even over like the social media was getting traction to crypto. And this came in at a point where people were like, wow, this might be something.
Oh yeah, because you know what, so, Sam, he's actually tested, like, he is the one advising Gary Gensler. How do all of these things work, man?
Sonia, let's talk about your project, because I will get a bit mad, especially with all the news that's coming in today. We are Tuesday night, by the way. So yeah, let's just no, not Gensler for sure. I will have in French it's called Scarletsin, or my skin will become all dry.
I know we could keep talking about this, but I have to get to a point where I start shilling my project. So
go. By all means, go. What's up with Orbis? What's up? We had a wonderful AMA last week, by the way. It was super cool.
Thank you. Cool.
Yeah, I had fun with your hat. I remember.
That's yes.
I'm surprised actually you don't wear it today.
Yeah. Somewhere I have it. Yeah. I have it right here. Yeah, but it's out of batteries. So maybe, I should just quickly grab batteries. 1 sec. Because I know I got the batteries charged. There we go. Yeah, I got the batteries.
Yeah.
So in I don't know, like in one sentence, ORBIS86, our mission is to onboard 1 billion people to Web3 through art, entertainment, education. And with the NFT, the piece that we are working on right now is the art and NFT piece. So that's what we're working on. But in the back end, we are also working on education. So if you go to our Medium blog, you will see we have been posting educational articles on Web3 all the way from April 2022. And every week we have like at least one post go out every week. The past couple of months have been mint information. So the last blog right now is, information about the mint, so that doesn't get lost. But yeah, I mean, generally that's what we have been doing. So that's my cat.
Yeah. It's lit.
It's lit. Yeah.
It is.
There we go. It stays. Yeah, it looks a little awkward, but it stays because I have this big ass.
That's perfect. That's branding right there.
I know, right? Like,
you're flashing. There you go.
Like all flashy lights, right? Yeah, it's going to fall off at some point, but
cool.
So yes, so that's what we're working on, and then happy to answer any questions. Tell me.
There's so many. What's your background? I know
I started my career,
DMA, but yeah.
Yep, I started my career as a Java developer back in 2007. I have built, architected quite a few applications. 2012, I moved to US. And since then, I've been in the roles of a consultant, product manager. I've helped enterprises scale their agile workflows from 0 to a couple of thousands. And then as a product manager, helped build and ship products out. And then 2020 was my last year where I actually got paid a salary, right? That time I was a global program manager for Broadcom, which is one of the big Fortune 500 companies in the States and globally. And yeah, I was managing Asia Pacific, Europe, and North America. So that's what my last full-time paying gig was. And now I'm a founder, so I am broke.
but rich at heart, and lots of people. Where I see you with Pink Floyd and Snoop Dogg, that has to count for wealth, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I am wealthy. I'm broke. Well, like all founders, right? Sure. We have so much wealth. That's the thing when you think about value, right? It's not just money that has value. You build value in so many different ways. Knowledge is power, right? You build value with knowledge.
1000%.
Relationships. I worked in corporate America, right? And just this white collar jobs for 15, 16 years. And I've made more friends in the past 2 years in Web3, 10x more friends at work than in my 15 years, right? Like working with people face to face, 10 hours a day. And even despite that, I've made more friends here in the Web3 space. So that should account for something.
It does. I'm beginning to have quite the pile of the stories of people just messaging me through DMs. I had one, big shout out to my man Paladin. I've met him through the project called 3D Apes over the XRPL, and he lives in United States. Drive 7 hours because we talked about, for a whole year, and we talked about chips and whatnot, whatever. Long story short, the man drives for his holidays with his wife. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to drive to Montreal. I'm going to visit you. Because I used to have a restaurant before. That's another story. And he drives 7 hours.
Nice.
Comes knocking at the door. I peek and that's him. I'm like, you're a real one. But all this through Discord. I'm like, and really 3 or 4 stories like that where people just came out and like, wow, this is real stuff. I mean, this is friendship. This is true stuff. And I always say this in the last month where I noticed it, where 90% of my core base bros, cis friends circle has shifted from I called it outside world up to here.
Yep. I completely agree with you. And, I have had similar experiences with a lot of DAO members, right? Like late night calls, brainstorming, spending hours in a week, right? Just trying to figure out how do we get things going? How do we get things done? Like, you must have seen Altmom and Glassy, right? Quite often they are on the spaces supporting Altmom's co-hosting the spaces with me. And with Altmom, she is.
Big shout out to Altmom.
Yep. And I know I've spoken to her at like 2 a.m. my time, 3 a.m. my time, which is like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., on the East Coast. And we are like literally, it's a forum for us to chat, brainstorm, vent, laugh, cry, right? Everything. Because, you are a sum total of all your emotions, right? And if anyone says that, hey, oh yeah, as founder, I am like, fully bullish about it. I have no concerns. I have nothing.
No.
These folks aren't really building, right?
That's not it. No.
That's not it. I mean, you have to host a podcast. I'm pretty sure just the fact that, hey, I have to get this show produced well, that introduces a certain level of anxiety, right?
Of course. You line up guests, who's coming. Sometimes it's very hot. Sometimes there's like 5 people a day asking me for a show. Then you have to schedule them. After that, well, there's no one for a week. But after that, you get it. And then you're dealing with humans, artists. But all that to me is kind of noise, because what I really enjoy is just having a conversation with people. That's, again, I say it all the time. This is where my candy is at. So this is work. That's what in English that's what's surrounding it, in a way that I have to focus it in a way for me to be organized. But down the road, like doing this, that's what I do. That's what I did all my life as being a chef before, that you have to have public relations when you're a chef, or whatever.
Yes, when you're in hospitality,
like you gotta so for sure, it brings a certain level of stress, but I think it's a great one.
It is, yes, because you're building with people, so you at least have that support, right? People know the notions that you're going through. They have been through it. So you get a lot of support that way. So definitely excited for that. So we are minting. Allow list sales is on 16th. Earlier, we had set the price at 2,000 HBAR, because that time HBAR was at 5 cents. It was moving between 4 and 6 cents. So we said, okay, we need to get at least $100, right, per NFT. Now, here's the math. A lot of the times people are like, oh, but if you're selling, so now when HBAR started pumping, we actually brought the price down to $14.99. And it's been pumping. So we told people that, hey, it's not going to be more than $14.99. But on mint day, if it keeps pumping, we'll actually reduce it, because we want to keep it between 100 to 120. The 120 part is also like, a buffer, right? Because either we sell it the same day, or, we have that buffer. So we don't, if it goes back down to 30 cents, like 3 cents, then what happens, right? If it goes up to 30 cents, yes, we'll be like in very good position. So, but even after we mint, what I want to do is convert some of that, keep it in like USDC, for example, right? Because that is important. At the end of the day, if we have a team of 15 employees working for us,
they need to eat.
They need to eat, right? And you have to pay them. And if HBAR goes up, that's great. Everyone's happy. But we also know that things could go sideways, right? So you have to mitigate that risk and be prepared for it, right? So yes, so it's been fun just going through that journey. But here's the thing, right? So 100, let's say we are minting 1,000 NFTs technically, right? Because the 111, it's being given to our Sigma DAO members and our team members. But well, first of all, I don't like the concept of giving anything to people for free unless they're bought into it, right? So Sigma DAO members, they actually bought into our DAO membership. And at that time, it was like $500, in terms of the Ethereum price that was there. So they bought into that. And then after that, what they are getting from these NFTs, they are not going to be the ones who will just go and undercut the floor and try to list it, right? Because they are invested in the project as they are part of the DAO. And then we have the team members who get it. And even the team members aren't going to do that because, again, they are invested in the project. So I don't really like giving out like free NFTs, because a lot of the times people who get stuff for free, they'll go and Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you. So then we have like about 1,000 NFTs to mint. Now people come and they're like, oh, 1,000 is still a lot. And I'm like, okay, here's the thing. A lot of you guys are here because, you like our roadmap and stuff, and it takes money to build those things out.
Right?
Yeah. Conferences, NFT Web3 conferences, most of these big conferences, just getting a small booth at most of these conferences, it's between $10,000 to $20,000.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even include the expense of you traveling to that city, the merchandise, etc., that you might give away, the food, lodging, those expenses are not included, right? How do you get that kind of capital? If you're doing everything within, like, let's say if I was doing all of this just within Southeast Asia, right? Because I'm from India, much cheaper. Yeah. And even now, probably finding offshore dev resources, yes, that's cheaper. But I feel like I always call, the NFT projects, right? I use this term that, hey, we are startups, we are community enterprises.
Yeah.
And if you're building a brand, there's also an inherent marketing expense. So if you want to bring more people from the outside inside, you have to also consider those expenses. So now you're saying that, hey, if we sell 1,000, right? Because earlier we were planning to do more, but there's a liquidity crunch in the market, as we know in HEDERA. It's a smaller ecosystem. So we said, okay, cool. Let's just do 1,000. And even out of those thousands, we have like 15 really big Ethereum influencers who are going to come and mint on the allow list. And when they mint, they're going to go and post about it. And we are hoping that the followers will come in, because I really want to bring outside folks into the ecosystem, right? So that's why we reserved a certain percentage of that for public sale on Zeus. So on Zeus, there would be like 333 that's available for public sale. And the remaining would be on allow list. So there are like 667 that are available to sell on the allow list at this time. So hopefully those mechanics would help us sell out. But yeah, we have to just be cognizant. Now, here's the thing. If we sell out that entire collection, then we're talking about raising $100,000, considering that the price of HBAR won't go below 5 cents, right? I mean, obviously we have to hedge our bets there, right? So if it's going down, what do we do? But $100,000.
Yes.
How much can you build with $100,000? Like last year, I have invested over $400,000 just from my pocket, right? With all the marketing, just being out there, the team that's building.
Presence, everything, socials, hiring people, wasting money thinking you hire people.
I know, absolutely. You know exactly what it takes to build, right? Because sometimes you do waste money that way, right? Like you'll be like, oh, but if I do this, it's probably going to be a win.
And just the time for you to find your zone, to find your balance, to find who's Orbis. Who's Sonia into all of this? Who's Sonia into Web3? Who's Sonia into Web3 now? That costs money.
Many folks might just come and say, oh, but you could have just invested that into like building a product or something, right? Again, even when you have that marketing, right, there is a marketing expense, and we have put us out there. I've been at many of these conferences, not just as an exhibitor, as a speaker, right? And that does grant you some kind of reverence and respect, right? Because people have seen your brand now. So I have literally had people who met us for the first time at NFT Miami back in April or May, and I met them back like all the way in December, and they're like, oh, wait, I know you. I met you at NFT Miami, because in December, again, for Art Basel, right, we were at Miami. They're like, oh, so people know you, right? That kind of brand awareness, just building that brand awareness, right? For a lot of companies, that's like a multi-million-dollar expense. So if I could go back and redo some things, yes, I would have redone some of those things and saved more capital, especially if I had known that the market was going to suddenly go all bullocks, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, that's part of the fun,
learning,
quote unquote.
Right?
For sure. Because say you mint it all, and it goes really well in 3 days, and then there's a part. I think there's a part in finding out all of this really makes it fun and worthwhile at the same time. If not, there's no way. There's no way, and that's why you have to be surrounded, and you are. I think you have to be surrounded with great people, a great team. And especially outside people who doesn't know. You have to have some great backup for when it goes down, and when you go down. At least you have someone to support, and you have a team to support at the same time to say, hey, we're holding the piece, we're holding the plan, this is where we're going, and we have to be, in French it's called perméable, so what's outside, affects us, but at the same time, we're going there.
Yep, I fully agree with you. I'm in agreement. So we sell it, we get $100,000. Now, $100,000, right? How far can it push us? But we are also going to be doing a mint on Ethereum. Then we have our merchandise thing. We're planning to do a Kickstarter too, because we're getting into comics and animation. And Kickstarter right now has this huge platform for comics for artists. And maybe we'll raise like 20, 30, 40,000, whatever that amount is. But what happens is now we are reaching out to a Web2 audience, and we can try and convert them over into Web3, right? So after the Kickstarter, when they get their comic book, there's a QR code that says, claim a digital copy of this comic, that's just made for you, like a unique digital copy. So we could probably use like generative art to have different cover pages on the digital copy, right? The physical one becomes really expensive, but we could have like a few different characters on the cover page, and all of them, even if we're just changing their clothes, for example, right?
Yeah.
So now you have a unique cover being created, right? And people would be like, oh, that's cool, let's get that. But the way they're getting that is they're getting that as an NFT, right? So, you could like really onboard people. And HEDERA, I love HEDERA for the fact that the onboarding fees are a fixed cost that we can predict ahead of time, right? Since the gas fees are pegged to dollars.
Pros and cons. That's a major pro. Yeah.
I do think that's a major pro. Yes.
It is absolutely. Thank you so much for passing by the show, Sonia. That was a pleasure. That was truly a pleasure. Thank you. It's been way too long since we've arranged this, and it was a pleasure. Really delighted too that now you're my friend, and we can talk about all sorts of degens all the time. So thanks again.
Yeah, I want to show some of the merchandise that's not falling off my head.
No, go ahead.
Let's see. Yeah, so there is obviously the light's really bright here, but we have like this cool merch, and you can just see it flash, right? You can see it flash. So that's one of the things that we have. So we have light up t-shirts, and then we have this cool little backpack. Oh, we still have my laptop in there. You remove my laptop. But what we're going to do, Phil, is we have decided that we will have a token. However, the token's not going to be a tradable token. So we want to do like a membership rewards token. And what we want to do with the membership rewards token is people get membership to ORBIS86 by holding one of the NFTs, right? And then for holding the NFT, they get points, but then also for completing some tasks and activities, they are able to earn more reward points. And then they can redeem those reward points for various kinds of redemption rewards. Besides obviously getting more NFTs, since we'll have comic books and all of that, being put up as NFTs, they can also just
amazing merch.
Major merch. Yep.
It's great.
Yep. So you have these amazing backpacks that we made, and right now it's not my cat, someone's cat out there. So we have all of these light up backpack and all this cool stuff, so people can just use that. So we're trying to figure things out, because right now with SEC, things are a little in the gray.
Funky.
We have a funky. Yes, I think funky is the right way to do that. Yep. I agree.
Hey, thank you so much. What time is it for you now?
Not too late. I'm in California, so it's actually later for you. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So the party's just started. For me. So you're far from bed now.
Party's just started. Yeah.
All right. All right. Keep on slaying. Thanks again. I think you're bringing an amazing angle that we did not see yet. I wish you nothing but the best. I wish that you strive, post-mint, pre-mint, wild mint. My door is always open if you need anything. I will say this on and off the mic. And best of success leading on to this week and onwards.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I would just tell people that, hey, guys, if you haven't been to our spaces, come join our spaces. And what you'll see is obviously, and when people look at roadmaps, they're always thinking about what exactly is this project going to do, because some of the things are not there. Some other things like the merchandise and stuff, it's already there. We've literally had our name out there in Times Square with like, our LED truck just going around. And, we have already done a few of those things. But more importantly, for example, the game component, we are working on the game mechanics We are working on the comic book. The comic book should be out sooner than later. And while we're working on all of those things, people might come and think that, hey, well, when do we get those things, right? You'll get them fairly soon, but there are some components like the gameplay mechanics would be available now, but the game itself might take a couple of months to build, right? But even with all of that, just come and look at the work that we are doing in terms of onboarding people. And if you feel like we're doing a good job at that, then, just for that, come and show support, right? Because we wouldn't be here unless we had a community to support us. So I would tell everyone that, hey, it would be great if you come and support us, help us grow, build with us, and then grow with us. And for that, I'd be very grateful.
Have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Sonia, thank you so much for your presence today on the show. It was a great one. Of course, as expected, from one entrepreneur to another, I can only respect the path that you are on, getting into a new ecosystem, making new friends, building bridges, not only inside this NFT space, crypto space, but Web3 space. Big respect, big strive, onwards, and I will see you on the next show.